What's up, people of the internet? I'm Papa Hefe. Welcome back to my channel. I had a couple errands I was intending to run today. I've been meaning to go to the sheriff's office so that I can turn in my application for my concealed carry permit, but life kind of stepped in the way and made sure that didn't happen today. That's the thing that's still on the agenda. But you have to deliver your application in person to their downtown office, which is like a solid hour away from my house, and you have to deliver it within a certain time span. You have to deliver it before 4 p.m., which makes it pretty difficult. Yeah, you're gonna try and keep me out. Makes it pretty difficult for somebody with kids. So in lieu of doing that, I took care of some stuff around the house and did some work on the car, and then came out for a ride. I haven't been able to really ride in like the last 2 weeks, which is why there wasn't a vlog last week, because it's been raining. And I know that there are people who are going to be like, oh, what kind of pansy are you that you won't go out and ride in a little bit of rain? Well, first of all, gatekeeping is a dick move. Second, I've been riding in the rain for years and will continue to do so. I have no problem riding in the rain. But if I have a choice, I kind of prefer not to. And I certainly can't take my GoPro out in it, because what happens when I try and record a vlog in the rain? Well, it looks like this. Yeah, nobody wants that. Third, I don't think everybody really understands what a person on the Gulf Coast means when they say rain. What people think of when they think of rain elsewhere is what we would call mist. No, down here we get sheets of torrential downpour. Individual drops the size of an Oompa Loompa. Biblical, diluvian flooding. That's what rain is down here. And that's just an everyday thing. That's part of life. So yeah, that's why I haven't recorded a vlog in a while, because, well, fall and spring in the deep south are just like this. I can deal with the scorching heat of the summer. I can deal with the biting cold of the winter. But there's not a whole lot that you can do to work around rain. At any rate, while I was planning on what to do with my next vlog, I was on Facebook and I went to the hashtag challengeaccepted motovloggers page on Facebook, and Mr. Adam himself of EpicAdam Motovlogs, well, he made a video talking about 5 influential events in his life. 5 things that happened in his life that made him the person that he is today, and challenged the rest of us to go out and do the same thing. And I really like that idea, because I am personally of the belief that everyone is the sum of their life experience. And I would encourage you to check out Adam's video, which I'll link in the title cards at the end of this. And if you haven't seen his channel, I'll link it in the whatchamacallit down below, because he makes just really great content. He's a fantastic guy, and he deserves your clicks. So, 5 influential events in my life. Without hesitation, the first thing that comes to mind, and probably the most influential event in my life, is kind of a downer. Because many moons ago, in the dark ages of 1997, which was my freshman year of high school, a piece of subhuman detritus, whose name doesn't even merit being mentioned here, well, he got up one morning and he stabbed his mother to death. And then he stole her hunting rifle, got in her car, and drove to school. And when he got to school, he walked in with that rifle, and he opened fire. He killed some students, and he injured some students, and I was attending that school. Now, this should come as a surprise to precisely no one, but that was an event that affected me very profoundly. I had set in course a chain of events that's kind of still impacting me today. it definitely darkened my worldview as a young man. And honestly, it made me a little bit of a nihilist. What in God's name are you people doing? Now, while he was sentenced to 65 years in prison for that, his defense team they still appeal and ask for early release every so often. And it'll never happen. He'll die in prison. But there was a great many years where every year on the anniversary of that event, I would reaffirm to myself an oath that I made that his first day as a free man, so help me God, would be my last. And you can take from that whatever you please. I don't think it's really necessary for me to elaborate on what exactly that means. But I'm pleased to report that that's not really my outlook on life anymore. Because at this point, I have a family and a life that matters more to me than my possibly overdeveloped sense of justice and vengeance. And I'd much rather believe that the universe will just sort that out. Influential event number 2 would be my brief time in the military. Now, my decision to enlist was made shortly after I turned 18. But due to some really convoluted circumstances that are just too ridiculous for me to include in this narrative, it was still a while beyond that before I actually shipped off to Fort Benning for basic training. So much later that I actually turned 21 while I was in basic. And while in the eyes of the law I was an adult at that time, I wouldn't really say that in hindsight I was a grown-up. I mean, I was responsible, I suppose. I had already participated in a presidential election by then, and had been living outside of my parents' house and away from my hometown for several years. But I still had a lot of growing to do, as does anyone when they're 18 to 21 years old. And while there were a lot of lessons that life still had yet to teach me at that point, some of the most poignant and influential and powerful lessons that I've had to learn in life about what it means to be an adult, and what it means to be a man, and what it means to be a friend, well, those are lessons that I learned then. Now, there are some people that I know who, without a doubt, would debate the validity of the lessons that I learned from that. They're fine to. It's not really their place to question it. As I stated, we are all the sum of our experiences. That's the life that I lived, not the life that they lived. And if they learned different things in their life, well, that's because they experienced different things in their life. Event number 3 is not really a singular event, but it is the births of my daughters. It's interesting to me, especially in hindsight, how experiencing essentially the same thing, but under different circumstances and at different points in your life, can affect you in wildly different ways. So it's only natural that the experience of having a child at the age of 24 is going to be wildly different from the experience of having a child at the age of 34. But regardless of age, it's a tremendous and transformative experience that does, or at least should, impact you in a huge way and change you forever. Event number 4 is buying the house that I live in now. And the reason for that is pretty straightforward. I mean, I'd had my own places before this. By now I've been living on my own for damn near 20 years. But I'd been renting that entire time. And there's this social understanding that the millennial generation will, by and large, never be able to own their own homes. And I had just bought into that. I had come to accept the inevitability that I was going to be putting money into somebody else's pocket on a property that they own for the rest of my life. And I was fortunate in that Madre Jefe refused to accept that. And said, you know, no, we can own our own home. We just have to find the right place and take the right steps, and we can absolutely do that. And I was very dismissive of that. I didn't actively discourage her, but I didn't really help as much as I could have, and I was wrong, obviously, because now we own our own home. And crossing that threshold opened up a lot of possibilities. It came with a lot of responsibilities and problems on its own, but it also demonstrated that a lot of things that I never before would have thought were possible, like, for example, going into a dealership and buying 2 brand new motorcycles, yeah, those things are actually quite possible. The 5th and final event that's been influential for me, and this might strike some people as a little silly, is getting this channel started. It might seem absolutely ridiculous that this silly little YouTube thing that I haven't even been doing for a year is something that I would consider one of the most influential events in my adult life. But it is. It has opened me up to experiences that I never would have otherwise had, and introduced me to people that I totally would not ever have met otherwise. And it's taught me to push myself creatively and follow through on commitments in a way that few other things have ever really had the power to do. And I genuinely believe that without this channel, I would be more complacent in my old existence and overall just less happy and fulfilled within myself. And I am incredibly glad not only that I did the thing, but that I had people around me who encouraged me to follow through on the thing and not to give up when it started being difficult or when I hit a wall and didn't know what to do next. People who were there to encourage me to be all that they knew I could be, even when I was faltering and had trouble believing it myself. So there you have it, my list in no particular order of 5 of the most influential events in my adult life. It's a beautiful day out, thank God. We haven't had a whole lot of those lately. I'm really glad you could come along with me on this ride. You've been fantastic. I'm Papa Jefe. Stay shiny side up out there, keep it rubber side down. Peace.